Welcome back to the show. We got a great one lined up. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. Don't forget to open your free account to Caleb and Brown because it's XRPwealth589.com. XRPwealth589.com and start getting the best night's sleep in crypto. I'm telling you, this is just incredible. Getting that human customer service along with all of the other great benefits. No hidden fees, no spreads, no institutional custody fee. And I tell you, human customer service. And this is where the game gets changed. It is a total game changer, ladies and gentlemen. XRPwealth589.com. See for yourself. Open your free account. Start getting the best night's sleep you've ever had. $3.42 trillion market cap for crypto. Now, the market's off 1.6, but we got some great stuff to look at today. Bitcoin, 105,000 plus. Ethereum, 2,500 plus. XRP number 4 spot, $2.25. Now, we're up 3.1 on the 24 and up 5.1 on the 7-day. Range of price very quickly between 223 and 229. We'll keep an eye on it. Let's start right here. This is new from Eleanor Terrett. Shout out to her. Give her a follow. Crypto legislation takes the spotlight on Capitol Hill. Plus, Wall Street gets bullish on stablecoins and what we're watching in D.C. and New York City this week. Going into this, it says here that after a week of behind-the-scenes negotiations, including some tense moments over amendments, sponsors of the Genius Act are aiming to bring the finalized bill text to the Senate floor this week. Through final passage could slip to early next week. Once again, the bill needs 60 votes to move forward and finally move to the House. Now, remember that this bill had well over 60 votes in cloture. So it would be, proper to speculate that we'll get the 60 votes needed here. Plus, we know that there's been multiple amendments from the right side and left side of the aisle, meaning it's been a bipartisan effort, so this should go through. Now, excuse me, yawning, very tired, been traveling a lot. Nonetheless, meanwhile, both the Financial Services Committee and Agriculture Committees are set to hold markups Tuesday on the respective versions of the Market Structure Bill. That means the Clarity Act. Each committee released slightly different amended versions late Sunday, tailored to their specific jurisdiction. Agriculture oversees the CFTC, and while the Financial Services Committee oversees the SEC. Following the respective markups, the two amended texts will be merged into a unified bill. The expectation is that the Clarities Act will advance out of both committees and move to the floor of the House for consideration, despite mixed reactions from the industry regarding how effectively the text addresses many nuances and complexities of the regulating of the $3.3 trillion digital asset market. So this is where we're at, ladies and gentlemen. The Senate is expected to come out with its own version of market structure text this month after the Genius Act is passed through the upper chamber. So we'll see what goes on with that when it happens. Now, this is just something else, boy, I tell you. Boy, the VCs and the maxis here. Now, the only one's really got a clue here is the Rob Haddock, and they all laugh at him. You know why they laugh at him? Because he starts explaining Ripple's strategy, and you could see that none of them really have sat down and thought about anything other than a 4-year mining cycle of a speculative asset like Bitcoin.
Gears to another company that has done a good job of penetrating mainstream.
Hold on. Let me get this right. Okay, here we go. Now take a listen to this.
Gears to another company that has done a good job of penetrating mainstream, but is also a little controversial is Ripple. Rob, you guys were, I think, shareholders of Hidden Road, which they sold to.
That's right.
I would love to hear your guys' take on the Ripple strategy. And if you think that they can build a dominant business just on the back of this weird strategy of accumulating a massive treasury and maybe buying their way into a good business. I would love.
Why is this a weird strategy? You're watching the new innovation of Ripple's tech stack and the use of XRP in the XRP ledger and soon to be real USD stablecoin, which is launched, but to be integrated in enterprise finance side. Why is that weird? Is it weird because you've been a Bitcoin maxi your whole life and you know that it's not going to be used in payments? The language, pay attention to the language and verbiage, especially if this guy's getting ready to start speaking. Your credit score will go down.
Up to you.
Can I just interject and say that I hate talking about Rob's portfolio? I just want to make sure that that's clear, that this should not be a trend. The only thing worse
There's
than
just too many of my
talking to
portfolio
Rob.
companies that are doing well. I'm sorry, Diego.
Rob,
Dude, you could just start copying Dragonfly's investments like that. Maybe that.
It's always a possibility, Diego. I promise.
Dio's like, I'm not having fun anymore.
No, so listen, I think to that point, Yano, I think absolutely, right? Like, I think there is no doubt that if you have a lot of capital, that you can buy yourself into an actual business, right? And like, it's hard. It's not easy. You have to be able to, pick the right businesses. You have to be able to integrate them. You have to have a good vision and understand where distribution comes from and value accrual comes from. But you can absolutely do it. And, I think if you talk to Brad today, like, they're really focused on RLUSD. They want to become a competitor in the stablecoin space. Hidden Road is a very, I think, savvy buy for them in terms of wanting to distribute RLUSD. It's a business that is very capital intensive, that it requires a lot of collateral, it requires a lot of debt capital. You end up actually distributing a lot to a lot of different counterparties. And so I expect we'll see billions of dollars of new RLUSD issued just through Hidden Road.
Now, before he goes to his next point, I just want to come in and go, and remember, as that develops and matures, remember, XRP gets a privileged role. So it's always going to get looked at first to see if it is the best fit for pairing. So then you're going to start seeing I believe, these deep, longer tail pairings on the backside where XRP will start making markets. And what the people don't understand, and I think most of them in this, they don't understand is that they don't understand that bringing a stable coin onto the network brings more traditional finance and liquidity to the network, allowing for more possible pairings and settlement and efficiency in the use of a bridge asset like XRP.
Now, add in things like, they bought Medico. I know that they're looking at a lot of different type of businesses right now. Like, I expect that they'll be able to distribute their stablecoin through those businesses. And then all of a sudden, we'll be talking about them as, a major player, as a top 3 to 4 stablecoin issuer, potentially,
Bingo.
Within the relatively near term.
You think Ripple could be you think Ripple in the relatively near term would be a top 3 stablecoin issuer?
I think that is their goal. I think it is certainly possible if they execute really well. I think they'll be a top 5 stablecoin issuer, probably almost certainly in the next, call it 24 to 36 months, if they are able to execute the things that they are saying that they are doing, the transactions that they've they've executed so far, and other ones that I think they'll probably continue to be pretty active. I think it's very possible that they essentially buy themselves into that business. And I'm a believer, and Diego might disagree with this, and Santi, now you might as well, but I'm a believer there will probably be like 5 to 7 stablecoin issuers that actually matter. I don't think it'll be that much less than that. I don't think it'll be 2 like it is today, but I also don't think it'll be 1,000. And so I expect that they will be one of those.
With that one answer, Rob just lost his Spicy Rob moniker. It was too politically correct. I'm sorry, Rob.
All right, go for it, Diego. Hit us.
As if Diego's going to bring some weight to this conversation. He doesn't understand that he's the one guy in this group that doesn't understand really what's happening here.
I mean, in general, look, it is what it is. I think they have basically no chance at getting a stable coin to be successful. It's extremely.
That's interesting. I'd wonder what information he's compiling and has put together to arrive at that opinion. Or is it just that he's been good at timing a 4-year mining cycle for Bitcoin and feels like a genius?
Hard to get in. There's anywhere from obviously like massive distribution advantages already, massive balance sheets. I mean, look at this IPO, right? I think just crossed $20 billion market cap, circled it just now, right? And so, I mean, the amount of money that they're against, not even Ripple has that much money. Yeah.
Well, if you look at their XRP, they do. They've got like $100 billion of XRP.
I was going to say,
they have to sell it. They have
Yeah,
to
they
sell
have
it.
to sell
it.
The moment they start selling it, it's different, right? They have to sell it.
It's so funny, like, you know, the arrogance of this guy right here. I have to point it out because he swears like he's sitting there like he's the canary and he's got the, you know, the cat that ate the canary. Like he's got all the answers and nobody else gets it but him. But the reality is he's the one guy in this group that is not getting it. He's not getting it. The reality is he doesn't understand that there's been pre-allocated XRP around the world. How do we know that that's a possibility and certainly that it's happened? Because R3 had a $5 billion XRP option. We're not guessing at this. Now, who is it to? That's a guess. But they're doing it. And this guy doesn't have a clue about any of it.
Once they start selling those amounts into market.
Do they have to sell it, or could they like do creative structures behind it?
Bingo.
It can do creative structures, but at the end of the day, it's just like it's sell pressure.
Oh, this is
At the end of the day, it's just sell pressure. It's not sell pressure if you're doing creative structures on it. That's ridiculous. He doesn't know what to say to that.
crazy. 110. No. I think though, just
Jeff
to be clear,
Jeff Dorman is crashing out right now, hard. I mean,
Crashing.
Oh my God. You can just imagine staring at that all day and be like, fuck.
Look, I'm really excited for Circle and where they've gone with the IPO, but let's not forget that the majority of their profit goes right to Coinbase. And what is it that the President Trump wants to get from the Fed? Cut rates. And what does that do to the margin, the profit margin to Circle on USDC? It cuts it greatly. But there's already the huge part of that profit margin going directly to Coinbase. So interest rate cut changes the model very greatly and the profit margin extremely. It hits it hard. So, you know, think these things are great right now, but where will it be? And, you know, in a 6-month period, when you have the shares locked up for people like myself and others who will finally be able to sell, that may create a dip. It normally does. And that may be the moment to strike for Ripple if they intend to buy. And I think that they still end up going for it. But we'll see what happens here. But let's listen to the last part of this.
Fuck.
I just Santi, on your one question about like can they do creative structures with the XRP? I think there are ways to do it. I think it is tough. I think you probably can't use it as consideration. You have to somehow turn it into cash beforehand for like tax reasons. But you know, their whole business for the last call it like 5 years has been actually just selling XRP. They have a defined amount that they can sell every quarter, and they put out a kind of a quarterly report that says how much we actually sold. And they can continue to do that, and at the prices that XRP is, and it's continued to go up. Like they can raise a lot of capital that way, but there's no reason they shouldn't be able to like borrow against it. There's no reason that they shouldn't be able to do like other things that provide cash. And plus, they have equity that they've actually continued to use, and some of the transactions that they're doing, and has a secondary market that is in the billions of dollars. And so I don't know why they can't continue to buy things, and if they do a good job, fix that distribution. So
yeah, I agree with that, but there's a big hypothesis. If they continue doing a good job, they need to integrate. And I think some of the acquisitions already have,
They need to integrate. What kind of comment is that? This guy's done zero work on Ripple. For the last 12, 13 years, Ripple has had their head down integrating into the repositories of the financial system. They haven't been looking for guys with big watches that want Lambos. No. And soon enough, they're all going to find out Ripple, Real USD, and XRP success is going to be very hard on the Bitcoin maxi crowd. It's almost as if they don't understand the deep relationships that Ripple have with the biggest players in the financial system. Who do you think has been buying XRP from Ripple OTC? It's not you and me. That's why we didn't get hung up in the court case. XRP is not a security. The Hidden Road deal launches asset swap prime brokers for the United States market. Well, let me tell you where else they're going. They're going overseas. Yeah, Dubai, Abu Dhabi. Write it down. This is what's missing from that conversation that I just showed you. They lack the ability to go do the work and the research to realize that they are broad stroking over top of what Ripple and XRP Ledger are about to set off. And here you see this, more evidence that that conversation is just a mess. Schumann's Financial Europe becomes the first MiCA-compliant Euro stablecoin integrated on the XRP ledger, a stable coin from the Euro region representing the second largest economy. We have the real USD. It's all on the XRP ledger. We could start right away. And I think that's what we're waiting for, is that US legislation. It will be, I believe, I really do believe, the United States is the catalyst to set this market off. And with the Genius Act waiting and it's nearing a final Senate vote, Wall Street and institutional usage of stablecoins is getting ready to go all in. With an almost instantaneous demand for U.S. Treasuries, the market could explode to $2 trillion. And think of that, and how much of that will real USD capture? That's a remarkable, remarkable number. And understanding how much of that XRP could start to facilitate in settlement, along with the complement of all the other stablecoins, CBDCs, and real USD on these chains. That's what's exciting to me. And we know that Meta, Google, Uber, Airbnb have all expressed they're coming in hard. We remember where we heard from Charles Hoskinson tell us that they could just do a push notification to Apple, Facebook, Google, Microsoft, X, and others, and instantly 3 billion people have crypto wallets, and they'll start with stable coins. And then we have this. This is another thing that's missing, where you could just do a little bit of digging. You don't have to dig quite as hard as the Baron of Beach Street does. By the way, if you're not following this guy, he is the legend. At Baron of Beach Street. This is the guy, and he's cracking it open. He went hard, and we all know the connection between DTCC, Securrency, Ripple, and Stellar, but he went even further, and I'm going to skip over a lot of this hard work that he's done, but I want to show you what he calls the money shot. He goes into the patent for the DTCC, and you see systems, methods, storage, media, managing digital liquidity tokens in a distributed ledger platform. DTCC is the applicant. You see it right there, right? And then here we have more evidence of the actual filing of the entire thing, right? The U.S. Patent Office. And then you have some more cutouts here where he talks about Ripple distributed ledger technology, right? It says Ripple in this example, Stellar in this example, destination ledger, right? Providers and tokens. The bridge graph can include all relevant bridge metadata of the bridges for identified connections. This is where they're discussing like how XLM and XRP and Ripple and Stellar will be effective in the use of this new patent. And here's the money shot. There's the Stellar logo and there's the XRP logo. See, we're done here, right? And that's what these guys in the podcasts in the front are missing. And here you have Dark Defender, who says XRP has been descending since 17th of January this year. The support level, on the other hand, is increasing. He says we have an intersection now where XRP will decide within 2 weeks, and this falls within that 60-day window as well from Eggrag Crypto. I don't know about you, but I'm super excited, and I know we're on the precipice of getting stablecoin legislation and then watching the markup for infrastructure. So everything is on point here to get it all done by August and on the president's desk to be signed into law. And then after that, boy, these people in these Bitcoin maxi groups talking are going to have something to get their head around, because all of us already know what's coming. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. We're going into the Freedom Zone, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my gracious, are you going to want to be with us today? 1 second. Dark side of digital ID and 15-minute cities. This is listen, I know we're all excited to make money in our life and to have gains in our portfolios, but we can't turn a blind eye to the cons of this new digital on-chain economy. We're going in right now. Again, not financial advice from me or anyone else. Come on in. All right.